All right. Hello. So today I'm going to take you on a step-by-step tutorial on how I set up my brooder for new baby chicks. This is a new actual brooder that my husband built here. I usually use a 50-gallon tub if I have a smaller amount of baby chicks coming, like, 3 to 5. But this one right here, we are getting 25 baby chicks, and it is, I want to say, almost 5.5 feet long and probably about 3.5, 4 feet wide. So, I mean, I'm just guessing. It's huge. So, I'm going to take you on a little step-by-step on what I do and what I put in it, how I get it set up, and why I get it set up that way. So, thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to make sure I've got everything out of it. And our baby chicks, like I've said in a previous video, are getting shipped from Ohio, and we are in Washington State. And so that's a long way. So we got to make sure that everything is completely set up by the time they arrive. Let's see if I can get this sticker out of here. I'll work on that in a second. So what I've also done is I've sanded down a couple of areas that look like they are... Oh, you gonna help? No, get off that, please. Thank you. Good listening. And I've sanded down some areas that I thought would be a little bit, rough for them or for our hands. I don't want anyone getting any splinters or eating something that they shouldn't. So get this completely cleared out. That is the first step. And the second step is to add a layer of shavings. So I'm going to go ahead and get the shavings. Okay. So I have one entire bag of shavings in here. I don't know. And I think this is every kid's favorite part, is to spread the shavings around. Lucas loves to spread the shavings around. Actually, he likes to throw up. Usually I use the thicker flakes instead of this. But, oh, bless you. Bless you. But this is all my feed store had. And you know what? You just got to work with it. And this will be fine. I'm not too worried. I don't like the sawdust because that is not really good for them, especially if they, eat it or, breathe it in. It could get trapped in their little nostrils. So you want something a little bit bigger than this. And I only use pine shavings. I don't do newspaper. I don't do anything like that because you don't want them to get slippery. Now, what I'm going to do next, I only do for a couple days. So let me show you what I do next. Okay, so I have spread out the shavings evenly, the best that I can. So for this brooder, it's an entire bag. If you're doing a smaller brooder like the 50-gallon tub, which I suggest having a couple as backup, to clean. So if you are using one, then you have a clean one ready. So then that way when you're ready to clean out the brooder, then you have one handy. And I learned that from Patera at Great Appalachian Homestead. She's full of just knowledge. She's just knows so much about chickens and how to take care of them. And I swear my chickens do so well. It's because I've learned so much from her. So you should follow her for sure. So what I'm doing next is I'm laying out puppy pads on top of my shavings. The reason why I do this is to help strengthen their little legs when they come, because they're not used to walking on these shavings. You don't want to develop spraddle or sprottle leg, or however you pronounce it. You want to make sure that they get strong and they're not slipping, sliding around, or sinking, This is like a deeper litter method that I'm doing, so I definitely don't want them to have any issues. So I'm going to layer the whole area here with puppy pads, and I will do that. Depends on how everyone's developing. You can do it for a day, you can do it for 2 days. Sometimes I do it for 3 days. I think with this many chicks, probably 2 days would be okay. But also you're going to want to change them out every day, because that's a lot of manure and a lot of pee that they are going to be having all over these puppy pads. But that's an easy cleanup. You just pick up the puppy pads and throw them away. And with the deep litter method, you'll just kind of turn this every couple of days, and then, once a week or however long it takes for them to really soil this, you'll be able to tell, you'll be able to smell it. Then you're going to want to change this out. And I have all my other brooders handy, and clean. And so when I need to clean this, they are going to get separated because there's so many of them into those brooders. And then once this is clean, I'll put them back in here. So this is a little bit longer process. I don't have 2 of these. That would take up so much space in our garage. But I do have the other tubs handy for cleaning day. And then at 6 to 7 weeks old, they're going to get moved outside to the barn anyways. It actually, it depends on the weather, but since we're getting them now and not in the winter, they should be totally fine to be in the barn for their introduction phase. So we'll go over that later. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue covering this, and then I will take you to the next step. Okay, so I have all the puppy pads laid out on top of the shavings. What's great about this is easy cleanup, and the shavings are ready to go. When you're ready to be done with the puppy pads, then they're clean, ready to go. All you have to do is just take off the puppy pads. You see that there's a color difference in some of these, but that's because this is a different brand, and from the last time I brooded chicks, I had some left over. I always save everything. I'm not a hoarder, but if I know I'm going to be brooding chicks again, I always sanitize everything, save it. I mean, you never know, and I'm glad I saved these because I ended up needing them. So the brand, I don't believe the brand really matters. I don't believe where you buy them really matters. I think I got the first ones here off of Amazon, and I got these other ones in a pinch at Safeway. I think the best deal is probably Walmart or Amazon. You can price check that. I think the ones I got at Safeway was let's see here. I think a 30-pack. Yeah, a 30-pack of pads. And I think I paid a little under $9 for it. So really, I have got a lot left over that I can use in another brooder. Or if you have a sick hen, this is really good for cleanup too. And you can investigate the droppings to see what's really going on. So always have puppy pads. They're really great for your chicken veterinarian kit. And actually that is what I'm going to talk about next. Before I get my heater and my food and my water ready, I'm going to go over a couple things that I like to have handy in my veterinarian kit. I have a bigger kit in my barn for everyone else, but I specifically keep stuff to the side for chicks. So Alright, so I'm going to kind of go through a couple things here. Some of this stuff I know I won't need, but just in case. So when I have the pine shavings, this is such a fun little blend to put down to help mask the smell, because chickens stink. All animals stink. Even people stink. So this Better Brooder blend is all natural. I absolutely love this company, Treats for Chicken. And you can see the ingredients here, and it smells so good, and it doesn't matter that if they eat it or not, because it's completely healthy, it's good for them, and it's good for growth. So I'm going to add this to the shavings once I take the puppy pads off. Yeah? Where'd the shavings go? I know. No, leave the puppy pad. Thank you. He's so curious. Do you want your own to play with? Here, come here. Lucas, here. I know, we're getting ready for the chicks. It's so exciting. Kind of feels like a diaper, doesn't it? Yeah. So, all right, let me push this back. No? So the next thing I'm going to talk about is always have some good tape, because even though I know we're getting them from a really good hatchery, things can happen. You know, the spraddle egg or the spattle egg can happen. Also, if you have some crooked toes or anything that you need to help straighten out, this is really good to have on hand. Gloves, some sterile water, some styptic powder to help stop bleeding, because when a chicken sees blood on another chicken, they will completely tear them apart. They'll just peck at them, peck at them, peck at them. I've had that happen actually to one of my older hens. Another thing to have on hand that's good is Vaseline. You want to get this and some Q-tips, and when they arrive, I'm going to Vaseline their little bottoms, so that'll help with pasty butt if that becomes an issue. And in their water, I put apple cider vinegar, which I'll show you once I do the water. Another thing that'll help if you do need to rinse off some pasty butt is this chicken shampoo. See if I can get it. There you go. From Messy Milder. This is actually a local company to us, and I really love their product. I use it on my big girls when, you know, they get pooped on by one another, or I just need to clean them up a little bit. It works really well. It smells really good. I think they've got a couple of scents. I personally like the lavender the best. There's a couple of other things in here that you need. You know, some syringes, some hemorrhoid cream, and some Veterex. This stuff's really great. I also have some Vetericin spray. Depending on what the issue is, I feel like some chicks might be a little young for that, but that's personal opinion. You know, you can do whatever you want. This is just what I do for my brooder, so, or to have on hand. I have more stuff in the garage, but this is just stuff that I need right away. So, and the Vaseline, the Q-tips, and the Poopy Butt shampoo, Messy Milder shampoo, is something that you will need right away. Another thing that you want to offer to your chicks is some form of grit. Oh, hold on. Hey, let's not throw that. Let go. Thank you. All right. I know he's excited. He wants to plug this in. Okay. Hold on. Let's put this in here. All right, we'll get it plugged in a second. Let's talk about this grit right here. So, and sorry, Lucas is very excited for these chickens. So, the grit that we like to use is corn grits. As you can see, a little bit bigger here, not a fine dust. So you can use the grit that comes at your feed supply store, which is like a little bit of ground crushed rock. And that works great. I do have some in the garage because I use that for my ducks when they were babies, and I can use that too. I just like using this better. I don't know. I think I learned this from Patera, and I've just always done it, and it works great. They like eating it, and this is also how I train them to come to me, because they really like eating it. And I do a special call, and I can show that later on, and my big girls come running to me. So if there's ever a predator situation, or I just want them to come over, make sure that they're close by, I just do my call, and I have treats, and they come running. So this is one thing that I help train them with too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the heater plugged in, because somebody's very excited and wants to get it plugged in. So let's get that plugged in and turned on. Okay, so I've already had to make I already had to make an adjustment to the brooder, because I didn't like how my heat plate was sitting on these puppy pads with this type of shavings. So, and that's another good reason why you should set your brooder up a day or so ahead of time. So that way, if there's any problems, you'll know right away, and you won't have to do it when you've got baby chicks sitting in a box right next to you. So what I had to do is I removed a puppy pad, because it was this bigger brooder heat plate, and this type of shavings are not the big flakes that I usually like using. Was sinking funny, and the puppy pad was like almost wrapping around the legs, so it would like trap the little chicks in there and they wouldn't really be able to get out. So I was like, that's not a good idea. So I went ahead and did no puppy pad underneath the heat plate here and folded them on the sides. So then that way they can get out and they are still having the heat plate, you know, underneath there. They're going to snuggle. And then I've got puppy pads everywhere else, which are going to be weighed down by the food and the waterer. And eventually I will have some little perches in here, some roost bars, but that's not this week. It'll be probably next week. So, all right, I'm going to get this plugged in and get it warmed up. Okay, so the indicator light is on. It's getting warmed up. Our chicks will be here between anytime today or tomorrow, or Thursday even. I mean, I expedited their shipping, so I'm hoping they'll get here today or tomorrow. They shipped yesterday, but of course, tracking hasn't updated, and I'm a nervous mother, so we're just going to get it ready like they're coming today. So one thing I do like about this brooder that my husband built is he put wheels on it, so it's easy for me to maneuver around if I need to get on this side. Like, let's say there's something over here that I need to check on, or somebody, then I can get around this entire thing really easily, because this is really heavy, but the wheels make it a little bit easier. And so the next thing I'm going to set up is their water. So usually I do a smaller waterer that you see at the feed store, you know, one that's good to raise just a couple baby chicks on. But I'm going to upgrade them to a little bit bigger because there's going to be 25 of them. What I always do for the first week until they really get used to the water is I put some marbles in the drinking area. So then that way there isn't any issues or causes to them drowning. So I'm going to get those and get the waterer ready. Okay, so I have my water ready and I disinfected and cleaned my marbles. Now I can see that I do not have enough marbles, so that's another reason why I want to set up. It should be okay, but I still think having more in here will help prevent drowning, because look at that, they can move them. So I think I need to get at least 2 more. 1 bag is good for, you know, the smaller waterer, but since we're having more chicks, you know, more water, more marbles. So, but another thing that I do, like I said before, was I add a little apple cider vinegar, organic. You want to make sure it's raw, to their water. I used to measure it. Now I just kind of eye it. I usually will add about a tablespoon to something like this. And then that should be good. That helps with digestion, gives them a lot of extra vitamins, and it's just all around good for them. I give it to all of our animals out here on the farm. I really have seen a difference. It also helps with some internal parasites, helping get rid of those. So I really love doing the organic route, natural route, instead of pushing antibiotics. Now, with that though being said, when it comes to feed, I'm a little bit different. I know. When it comes to baby chicks, I think. Okay, sorry. Had to help somebody really quick. So what we do for our feed is we do use medicated chick starter, and then when they are older, I put them on organic, non-GMO, and that's what our older animals eat. But when they're babies, I always do medicated because I'm trying to help prevent coccidiosis, and I also get all my chickens vaccinated for Merrick's, no matter what. That's just for me, I really am all about the organic, natural approach. I think that it's important to know what you're feeding your food, you're getting out of your food. But I also think that if I can help keep my chicken alive by vaccinating them when they're a baby for Merrick's, then I'm going to do it. If I can keep this entire brooder alive because I'm going to give them medicated chick feed, and so then later on in life, they're going to give me the best eggs, that I can get. They're going to be healthy. I'm going to give them medicated chick feed. I know a lot of farmers out there that don't give their chickens medicated chick feed, but instead do the cord in the water. It's the same thing. I don't give them the cord in the water. I do the medicated chick starter. For me, that's just something, it's an extra step I don't have to do. It's already in the food. So, you know, coccidiosis can wipe out your brooder within a week. I've seen it happen to friends where their baby chicks have died because it just spreads like wildfire. So if you really don't want to do medicated chicken feed, that's totally up to you and your farm and your family. And like I said, this is what we do here. And when they're ready to go to the grower layer feed, then we do organic non-GMO. So, because that's when they're getting ready to lay eggs. So, so anyways, I have their water set up here. It looks like I do need to get some more marbles. I did put it on a cookie sheet with a little grate. We're going to try that. I tried it with the ducks. It didn't work. Sorry, bud. No, you cannot have that. That's for the baby chicks. Sorry. Trying to film with a toddler. Impossible. So I did this setup here with the with the ducks, and it was impossible to keep clean. I'm hoping that with the chicks it's a little bit better, because I think that chicks are less messy than ducks. So we will see. So I'm going to go ahead and get their feed filled up and situate this a little bit different. I think I'm going to put one food there, one food here, so they have a little bit of space between them. So yeah, it's looking good so far. Okay, so getting this set up with a toddler, very busy toddler, is very difficult, but I think we're there. I just need to add their food and a little grit. I'll probably introduce the grit after they've been here for 24 hours. So yeah, everything's looking good. I'm really excited. So we're gonna sit here and watch Finding Dory, just relax a little bit. It's been a really long week today, and it's only Tuesday. Our kitchen is still getting remodeled, so if you're following our move to the country videos, that is almost done. Hopefully it'll get done this week. As much as I've loved cooking outside on a little cook stove and over a campfire, I'm ready to bake something in the oven. So I'm getting antsy for that. But yeah, once the baby chicks are here, what I'm going to do first is you want to make sure that you dip their beaks in the water so they know where their water's going, or where their water's at. And then that way they'll go back to it. And then some people dip their beaks in the food too. I think I did that last time. Usually once one finds the food, then they all find the food. That's kind of how it works. But then they'll usually snuggle under their brooder because they've had a long trip from Ohio. So I'm anxious. They said they shipped. I'm just waiting for the post office to call me. Since we moved out here to the country, we have a rural post office delivery. So I spoke with the mail carrier a couple of weeks ago, and then I spoke with her yesterday. She has my phone number too. We're one of her last stops on her route. So I asked her to let me know in the morning when they arrived, and I will drive to the post office and get them, because that would be a lot quicker than me waiting at the end of the day for her to deliver them, which I think it was super sweet that she offered to do that. I appreciate that so much, but in order for the chicks to get here, get water, and get settled, I think it's better if I just go pick them up early in the morning. Usually that's when they arrive. So yeah, be prepared for lots of baby chicks videos coming. We're so excited. Again, we have 25 of them coming, and they're all new breeds except for our Buff Orpington. We got more of those. We had a Buff Orpington previously, and she sadly passed away before we moved,
We absolutely adored her. We love Orpingtons. We think that they're wonderful and they're great with kids. All of our chickens have been really great with our son. Huh? What? Who's that? So, yeah. And so we're excited to share all the breeds that we get with you. And I'll do a little video on that too. So stay tuned. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, sorry. One last thing before I leave. The reason why I do the water right now is because I want it to be room temperature when they arrive. I don't want it to be too warm. I don't want it to be too cold because you don't want them to get a chill. So that is why I do the water a day early, or at least the morning of, that I know they're going to arrive. But since shipping hasn't updated, I don't know. So I'm just going to be prepared. So that's why I do the water early. All right, thanks.